Okay, so after pulling everything out, I turned the key on and nothing worked anymore. So I had a bit of a scout around and found that because I moved the solenoid out to disconnect the cable going down to the starter motor, it caused a dry joint up here, so I wasn't getting full voltage through that. So there was 2 wires that came off, which went through that fuse, which sent power to the bike. So I connected both of those wires up and still didn't work, and I found that when I pulled the coil out that I disconnected one of the ground wires here. So that was another issue as well. So between the two of the issues, nothing worked anymore. So I connected both of the red wires up that went through the fuse, and that's the main fuse for the bike, and got everything working again. So I thought, well, maybe both those wires aren't required. So I was able to pull one of them out and found the wire which runs everything. So now when I turn the key on, I have indicators working, we have tail lights and brake lights and headlights. So all of that's working now. And the horn, of course. Got to have that working. So little fuse box here, that only had 4 fuses in it, so it was nothing major. So I pulled out the one for the fan because that's no longer in the bike, and I pulled out the ignition one because it's no longer got a motor. So all we need is just the headlight one, and the other one just runs the rest of the lights. So we'll start looking through the wiring and see what's not required. Probably have to we'll unwrap all this wiring and pull out all the wires that are no longer required to run the bike. But I think I might start with taking the front fairing off, just so I can get access to everything behind there, including the instruments. And so we'll take that off now. Okay, so we've got the front fairing off now. Not very attractive in behind there. But, a lot of that's going to be coming out because we won't need to use a lot of those wires. The instrument panel is going to come out because the speedo, I don't know if you can see it there, but it's got no needle on it and it's broken, so there's no point keeping that. I'm pretty sure some of the control systems have built-in speedos, so won't be necessary. Yeah, so we'll get all this out of the road and see what else we don't need in here. So the bike's getting lighter and lighter. It's about the same weight as a push bike at the moment when you pick it up, so it's definitely getting on the right track. Yeah, just a little piece of advice, as you start pulling stuff off, continue to test the electrics still work, just in case you happen to get rid of something you actually needed, because I found this, you're not sure what it was, disconnected, and found it's a headlight relay, so for the high beam, so need to reconnect that again. So it's just one step at a time, don't rush it, and you shouldn't make too many mistakes, hopefully. Yeah, you gotta love how it just plugs into everything. So again, plugs, instrument panel, pulled out. Can't recommend enough that as you disconnect things, make sure you label the wires you've disconnected, so that when you go, oh, what this used to go to, and you start pulling it out, you know exactly where all these wires used to go, and that you don't need them anymore. So you might start unraveling some of the wiring and pulling out all the things we don't need. Okay, so on closer inspection, a lot of these wires up here we do need, even though there might be a couple of things that are no longer required. We're not going to get too worried about pulling all of this out. Obviously the clutch switch, which we don't need, but the wire that comes off that is the lighting control, the headlights and indicators and everything. And all these wires, we've got the ignition switch on this one here. This one goes up to the brakes, so I'll need the brake lights to work. And down around here goes to another indicator lights. So we'll start from here, which is the wires that plugged into the instrument cluster, and we'll work back from there and work along the bike and just slowly remove things. Then once again, as we remove stuff, we'll double check that we haven't disconnected something that's going to stop the lights and the horns and all the other bits. We want to keep working. So we'll take our time, don't rush it, and slowly we'll expose the wiring and remove everything we don't want. Okay, so as you can see, we've sort of exposing the wiring now, just slowly working our way back through the loom, and we'll start to disconnect things. A lot of wires are multi-use, as you can see here with this one. Obviously we don't need the wires going to the voltage regulator, but we do need the other wire goes to the flash unit, so we've just got to cut off what we don't want. So it's important that you take your time and look where all the wires go. And I'm going to pack it up for tonight. So rule number 1, when you're not around the bike, disconnect the battery. So I'm going to disconnect the positive off the battery so that the bike doesn't catch fire when I'm not around. Okay, so yeah, we've gone through and removed some of the wiring. We'll just do a quick test to make sure everything is still working. Still got brake lights. The brake light switch down here as well. Don't forget that one. The indicators are working. Both sides, horn works. Headlights are working. Tail lights are working. High beam and low beam. Flash is working. So all the main parts that we need to keep moving forward are still operable. As you'll see, pulled out a lot of stuff. So there's not many left now. There's only a few wires actually go from the front to the back of the bike. Had a bit of a sort through this lot here. There's a few wires that came from the instruments that went down to the little fuse. Our tiny little fuse box, which has now got only 2 fuses for the whole bike in it, which do the lights and the indicators. That's about all that's left. And all this stuff, the starter solenoid didn't need, voltage regulator didn't need, and that was all the wiring harness that used to go to all the ignition system. So that's all no longer needed. So yeah, we'll go through and tidy it up a little bit. And I'm going to try a couple of other things while we're going. So yeah, we're nearly there. Alrighty, so we've got the wiring all tidied up. Didn't take too long. Just wrapped it all the way along the loom. So it's all looking nice and tidy now. Kept that wire. That's actually a start wire. I might use that down the track as part of the control system for the bike. But that's much better. Not many wires left in there now, but it's all we need at this point in time.